That makes me feel good that, Asian parents, hopefully, for the people watching that, Asian parents become more open-minded and accepting of just, not just, sex work, but just non-traditional paths.
Right. Like there's multiple paths to success, especially here in America. This is supposed to be the land of opportunity.
Yes.
And so, if your kids I don't want to say if your kids got a passion, because it's not my passion, but it's like.
Right, but if you're good at it, man.
But it's also just, if you have an idea, you have a path and so forth, there's so many different paths to success. Like, I'm not saying you have to encourage everyone, but just hear them out. Genuinely hear them out. You know what I mean?
Like, sex is fun.
But honestly, if I couldn't figure a way to monetize, if I was going into a completely saturated market field and so forth, right, would it be a good idea? Honestly, even if I was
from just a business standpoint,
that's what I'm saying.
He's just doing it.
That's what I'm saying. Like as a parent, if my kid, people are like, what if your kids want to do this? What's your business strategy? What's your market strategy? If you have a business plan and it seems pretty good, go make your money, right? But if you're like, I'm gonna do this because I want to, and it's like you have no way of actually monetizing and taking care of yourself.
Right.
I, even as somebody who's doing this, would be like, don't do it because you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot, because sex work is one of those things. Once you do it, you're in. You can't, you don't dip your toe in the sex work, right? Like once you do it, you've crossed that line. You are now forever tainted as a sex worker. And if you don't have a plan, a strategy, a marketing, an exit plan, and all this other stuff, I'd be like, figure that out and then come back. I literally had, so one of the skate homies from like the back in the day, the young skate homies, right? They found out about my porn shit. And then they hit me up and they'd be like, I'm kind of doing the same thing. Like OnlyFans going on since this. How do I get in? And I had to tell them, no, you're not ready for this, because as I started asking him, like, what's your branding, what's your marketing, what's your strategy, what's your this and this?
You just
he had none of it, right?
Like,
and that's exactly what it was. It's like, bro, there's so many fucking white dudes. There's so many guys. You have no plan. You have no marketing. You have no strategy. You have no this and this. And you want me to get you into porn? Like, the fuck are you gonna do once I got you in? Like, I can't do your work for you, right? So in that sense, it's one of those like, I came correct, and I told them exactly what they know, my background, they know all this stuff, and they were like, he's starting his own business. It wasn't a conversation about me going into porn. It was a conversation about me starting my own business, and it happens to be in adult entertainment. Whereas, if someone was just like, let me do sex work because I I like fucking, I'd be like, don't do it. If you just want to fuck, don't do it. Fuck for fun.
It's like,
forever,
now
you know
what are you bringing to the table?
Right.
But I think, man, it's still hard though. I think do you feel like a lot of Asian guys do lack in the sex department?
I don't know, because I don't have sex with Asian guys, so I have no idea what their dick game is like.
Right, but I think just from I guess how society kind of views Asian guys.
I guess the perception, the stereotypes, I totally understand where it comes from. And it sucks too, because it's like, I think even Asian women are susceptible to the same stereotypes that they believe about the Asian men, because oftentimes, like, I'm like hooking up with somebody and we're getting naked and so forth, and they'll be like pleasantly surprised. They'll be like, oh wow, you're really big for an Asian guy. And it's like, what do you mean for an Asian guy? Because statistically, I'm just big in general. Like, I'm just above average. And so it's one of those things, like,
But it's not even about the dick size, right? Like, what about the rating, the review that the girls give you, like, after post-sex? It's like, damn, you're the best Asian guy, or you're one of the best guys I've ever had.
I mean, but that's just on an individual basis as a person, right? Because for me, I get off on them getting off, right? I enjoy other people having a good time. So my entire focus while I'm having sex is, what can I do anything
to please yourself?
Exactly, to please you. My ego aside, whatever you want, like, I don't care. As long as you're having a good time, I'm having a good time. So in that sense, I like to think that my partners come out having a really good time, right? But if you don't go into sex with that mentality, you go in with like, oh, I'm gonna ego fuck real hard to prove that I'm real good in this. I can't. I don't know if she had a good time. I can't, like.
I think also, going back to the topic, was I think a lot of Asian guys also, it's just, sex is a very taboo topic and subject in the Asian community, right? I think that also contributes to the part of the problem, where it's like, if we're not talking about this, then Asian guys aren't learning about it and getting better with it. If they're like scared,
for sure. And I think it's not just the Asian community that we don't really talk about sex. Like in the manosphere, like men, we talk about sex, but not ever in detail the way like women would talk about sex, right? Like we talk about it in a very general sense, like, oh, I hit that, but not like how do you actually please a woman? You know what I mean? Like that's why there's so many men out there that's just
they're scared to ask.
Right. Like they're literally confused about female anatomy of like where's the clit, where the G spot is, like how do you stimulate those things properly and all this other stuff.
Right, because as guys, you just, hey man, I just got it.
Right.
I just either you got it or you don't.
Right.
But it's like back in, you know, when they're by themselves, they're on the computer like, how do I,
exactly, right?
Where's the fucking, how do I finger to go? You know.
So you know you have those conversations. I learned all that stuff because the women that I interact with in my life, you know, literally one time I was hooking up with this woman in San Diego, and I'm like thinking I know what I'm doing because I was like, oh, I've been here before. I fingered plenty of women, and she literally stopped me to be like, no, you're doing it wrong, and then she like literally taught me where the G spot was. She was like, you curl your finger this, and you like feel around, you feel the little rough spot in here, you're right there. That's my G spot. This and this. Now rub it. And she literally like. And like, you know, if my ego got in the way of that lesson, I never would have learned where the G spot is, how to stimulate the G spot, and also how to feel out my partner to see whether it's working or not. Because I would just be like, oh, I know what I'm doing, I know blah blah blah, and it's like, no. Apparently, I didn't know what I was doing, you know, and I needed someone to stop me, correct me, and so forth. And that's one of those lessons you learn. Is like, you know, when it comes to pleasing someone else, put your ego aside and just learn what the other person wants and do that thing. And if you do a good job of it, they will gladly reciprocate to you. And then now you're having really good sex because both people are having a really good time wanting to please each other, as instead of having like selfish sex where you're trying to get yours before the other person gets theirs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think. I that's something I've like talked about on this channel. Is like definitely. It's just a better experience overall if you help them get off.
Right.
And because they start coming back for seconds, thirds, and then eventually, you know, it's like an interchangeable, you know, it's like
for sure. Right.
Date, bro. Oh, I mean, I was also going to talk about, you know, a lot of, I would say like in Asian culture, right? It's just like even in pop culture too, it's like, I think, you know, going back to how I was saying the topic of sex is very taboo.
Right.
And you say, you know, it's guys in general. Yes, I agree. But I think within the Asian community, right? I don't know if you ever seen the music video like Nice Guys.
Nah.
By Ryan Higa?
Nah,
okay. It's a big, I mean, you should just see it from the title, right?
Okay.
They're talking about like topics, you know, just be a nice guy. And it's a very relatable song for a lot of Asian dudes. It's just, you know, I think because we value, I guess, friendship, like camaraderie, you know, in the relationship more than all this sex shit. Right, and I think that's a little bit backwards, and that's like I think that's super backwards, and it's working against us to really like focus on that because all this sex and fucking is not talked about.
Right.
So, do you see that problem being the case?
Kind of. Yes and no. It's just sort of one of those things where it's hard to speak for the entire Asian community because again, it's like we're such a diverse group of people from so many different backgrounds and so forth, right? Absolutely. But there is sort of this thing where there is this stereotype or this belief that's just like, oh no, we just kind of nice, right? But it's like nice is such a base level. It's just how you treat people on the base level. It's just like. You're just nice to people, right? Like if you're opening a door for yourself and someone's behind you, you just hold the door open because
it's
nice.
What I'm talking about. It's like they're trying to friendship their way into what they want.
Well, right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you're being nice, where thinking being nice, friendshipping your way is like, oh, I'm showing you something like a good quality about me. But it's like I'm saying like you're showing the absolute base level of human interaction quality, and you need something above the nice, right? That's what before we talked about where. When I focused on me and being a good athlete and this and so forth, it made me aura. It made me attractive.
Yes.
It was the confidence. It was my success in the realms of the things that I was pursuing. It was that other guys wanted to be me that made the women go, oh shit, this is somebody who's like somebody.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm nice, right? Like so it's like I'm not an asshole, and I was successful at these things, and I did all these things, and that's how I ended up attracting really, attracting really good women.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like we have this idea: be nice, definitely be nice, don't be a dick, right? But being nice is such a base level human interaction that it's not enough to secure you a relationship. You need to be more than nice.
Yeah. I think that's you answered that perfectly. Yeah.